Brian Niccol's leadership style is a topic worth exploring. Starbucks board chair Melody Hobson told Squawk Box this morning how exactly Starbucks landed on him as Nara Simmons' replacement. Take a listen.
It happened because our board a couple of months ago started to engage in a conversation about the leadership of the company. And I made an overture through someone to Brian, and he took the call. And we thought we had the opportunity to engage with one of the biggest names in the industry, someone whose track record is just clearly proven, not only through the spectacular results that he's had at Chipotle, but also before that at Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. He knows this industry, and we thought he would be the right leader for this moment.
Kate Rogers is here. She's been following Niccol's career for some time. Kate, you've interviewed him a million times. Let's dial back for a second. This isn't just about Chipotle. I mean, when he came to Chipotle, he was already a star because of what he did at Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's right, Kelly. So he's had quite an impressive career, and I think, as has been said many times on our air today, is an extremely well-respected and impressive leader within the restaurant sector. You mentioned Taco Bell. He did some interesting things there, kind of making it more into a cultural moment, right? Things like introducing breakfast items and catering to younger consumers. And you were talking about brand legacies and CEO legacies. If you looked at Taco Bell today, they are still a staple amongst Gen Z in particular, and those viral moments. That's something he also did at Chipotle to a very impressive degree. Things like, adding clothing lines, makeup partnerships, hiring fairs on Discord, and partnerships with Roblox, right? He knows where younger consumers are, and that's something that Starbucks does need to recapture. He also really brilliantly built out their digital business, right? And that's something that Starbucks also needs to work on with regard to mobile order and pay. And he's added new menu items that have done very well. Again, something that Starbucks really needs to see. I keep hearing something that Brian has said many times on our air and many times on analyst calls, that you need to delight the customer, right? Keep the customer happy. That's something that Howard Schultz firmly believes in and has, tried to instill in all leaders before and after him as he's returned multiple times. And that's something that I think Brian Niccol can really do at Starbucks. Remind the customer why it's worth it to spend your money at Starbucks, particularly in this environment. So we'll see if he can pull it off.
No, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Kate. And Nancy, it's really brilliant because Chipotle is also a company. They don't discount. It's fresh. It's healthy. It's in that same lane that Starbucks kind of used to be in and is trying to stay in. A lot of people weren't happy with the way the current CEO is using all these discounts through the app and on the storefronts to really drive traffic and sales. They feel like it's brought the whole experience down market. My question to you, I don't know if you would agree with all of that, but also how does he deal with Howard Schultz? And maybe we can show some critical tweets from Jonathan Mays and others who have said, listen, Schultz is orchestrating much of the disarray that's taken place in the past couple of years. And, when you bring someone like Brian in, I'm sure there were discussions. I'll get into that in a second about whether they're downsizing at Starbucks like they supposedly are at Chipotle. But Nancy, how does he deal with a personality like Schultz?
Well, that's a really great question, Kelly. And I hope that Howard Schultz at least takes a look over his shoulder at Disney and how well that worked out for Bob Iger. I think these legacy CEOs just need to let go. And we thought that Howard Schultz was one of those that would do that. Maybe Laxman was so disappointing to him that he felt he had to step in. But I think Brian Niccol has the track record that will at least command respect in the space. I mean, that's where, the former CEO did not. And we talked to some insiders who said he did not understand restaurant retailing and he did not understand the culture of the company. I don't think Brian Niccol's going to make that mistake. And if he puts some, results up on the board pretty quickly, I think that will solve kind of the angst that we've heard coming out of Howard Schultz. Let's hope.
Right. Kate, what would you add to that?
No, certainly. And also, Howard Schultz is no longer in a formal leadership position with the company. Remember, he's chairman emeritus of the board. If he didn't like this decision, I have to imagine that we would have heard about it. But make no mistake, as Nancy mentioned, he trained Lakshman Narasimhan for 6 months plus, and this didn't wind up working out. I do agree with what was said about Brian Niccol's track record and respect in the industry. And one more thing that I think he understands, because Chipotle is also viewed as a quote-unquote more premium brand for consumers, Starbucks is a premium brand that also needs to maintain its competitive nature in this environment with consumers. If you're going to discount, it has to be done in the right way. Chipotle hasn't discounted, and it's grown traffic in this environment. That is so rare and such a special thing. So can he do it at Starbucks remains to be seen.
Or look